سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نوينا نتعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والفرد والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى، مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله. Um, okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are at our continue with our book. I actually have the book translated. I actually have it on my desktop, on my Google Drive. But I think I did a very, very quick translation. So but I'm just gonna try and share it. It's on my Google. I can share it. I don't know if you all have this, if you all have these slides. I think I shared it last week, last year. It was done some time ago, the slides, but I think I just did a very quick job. So if you all want it, I can put it up here. But it's a really quick job. Like, so I actually want to work on it, inshallah. This one. Okay, Tom. Bismillah. Like, so we're finished about the section on the prophets, right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending salams unto all of them, and especially to our beloved sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. I saw your homework, mashallah, well done. There is a lot of discussion, okay? This kind of matters, right? With regards to the Quran. If there is no like specific nas, I mean specific statement by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with regards to this tafsir or tafsir in the Quran, then we go back to our scholars and we see that the scholars, they have their own opinions with regards to the grouping of the prophets in the Quran and so on and so forth. And it's just, you will say it is faida. It is faida, it is wisdom, it gives you appreciation, right? So this kind of thing that is it's kind of amr, there is a there's a lot of space. There's a lot of space. What's that? Any fil amr. There's a lot of space for discussion and appreciation and what do you call this? Right? And just to comment. I mean, for the scholars to comment on it. Right? For the scholars to comment on it. Right? So it's not for us, right? But it's for those who are trained, right, on commenting on the Quran. Right? To comment on some things in the Quran in regards to sentence structure and then grouping of the Prophet as well. So I hope that you all had done your homework and you all had done your research, and if you have not done so, then at least you read. You read what your fellow classmates have found out, or you go through, or you listen to the lectures, right? And you appreciate. I appreciate, and I love these things. It brings about appreciation in the Quran, right? So and closeness to the Quran, and just it increases your love for Allah Subhanahu wa Taala in His book and of course His Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So we are on the section of the Malaika وملائكة الله. Right, so similar for ملائكة الله. وقوله وملائكة الله أي أنه يجب الإيمان بملائكة الله تعالى، ودليل على وجوب الإيمان بهم قوله تعالى. Right, so there is an obligation. Right, so the first statement وملائكة الله, it is wajib. There is an obligation for us to believe in the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I didn't put the dalil here, but actually this book goes into a lot of dalil, as to a lot of proofs as to what we believe in our aqidah. That's why I like this book very much, mashallah. Right, the Naylul Maraam, right, because it does something similar in its pattern with regards to Jalal Afham, right, which is the Shara of Prophet Al-Awam that we use, right. There's a lot of quoting of the Quran, right, which brings you to an appreciation and a closeness to the Quran because, of course, our ultimate and first source of all knowledge is the Quran. All knowledge will go back to the Quran first and foremost, and then our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the one who comments on the Quran. So his commentary is, is taken, is prioritized. Of course, it's prioritized. It's the only commentary that you actually, that you believe in or you take 100%. Then after that, there's commentary on scholars who are udul, right? Scholars who are rightly guided, they're credible, they have knowledge of what they say. And I hope that you all had listened to the talk that was given by on Thursday. Was it Thursday now? Thursday by Ustazah Abdullah. Right, Ustazah Abdullah. And she has allowed for her talk to remain up for a week. In fact, she said, I think she said she's okay with it. Just leave it there. So we hope people, but we want people to listen to this. So we're not going to give them like forever to listen to it. But hear her talk in regards to the misunderstanding, right? Not misunderstanding, but also the misconstruement, and it can also be purposeful. It can be vile and purposeful that they misconstrue or they misinterpret the verse of the Quran because there is already the interpretation that is correct, right? And that has gone back that links us back to the Prophet Sallallahu himself. Right? But there are people out there who have their own agendas, and this was actually said to us by our beloved Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Like who and there was the hadith that was also mentioned like by Ustazah Abdullah, with regards to the Ta'wil Jahili. So the hadith, she mentioned the hadith, what it is, Muslim Muhammad, it is يحمل هذا العلم, the hadith of يحمل هذا العلم, that this knowledge will be carried. That means this knowledge will be entrusted. The knowledge of the religion will be entrusted. And this is something that's very important for us to focus on and highlight, especially in the knowledge of Aqidah, the knowledge of Quran, right? Knowledge of Quran, and of course, in there is Aqidah. And then thereafter comes everything else. Right? It comes everything else, right? Because they will attack these things first, right? Because Shaitan and of course the Dajjal, well, they know that they can't change the Quran. The Quran cannot be touched, it cannot be adulterated, cannot be changed. But the ta'wil, the interpretation, can be messed with. Right? And there are people, even in our time, they deny angels. They actually deny angels. Angels, subhanAllah, I saw this video about this Egyptian, I don't know, it's out there and it's out there. This Egyptian, whereby they completely do not believe in wahy. They don't believe that wahyu ever happened, right? They don't believe that there's such thing as these creatures or this creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is from light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So mashallah, I mean it is shocking. I mean I find it shocking that they, because they're so-called such strong believers in science, and science, and it is from a lack of intellect that for someone to think that science explains all. It is from a lack of intellect, right? That someone thinks that science must necessarily explain all. Like, why is it a lack of intellect? Because science is based on the perception of human beings, and human beings are limited by nature, right? So how in the world could an entire concept, or entire, you say, part of life, of existence, science, which is based on the very limited human being and our perception of things in life, be the answer to all of reality? You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make sense. There's no logic in there. And there's no logic in there. How can it be? How can it be? How can it be? Right? Then so the people who say, oh no, 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 it's not in science. Science can't explain this, it's not like science, there's no scientific, proof about it. Oh, so science is an all encompassing, factor in life that has they can cover every single aspect. Subhanallah, it's idiotic in a sense. It's idiotic, right? For people to think that science, is the answer to all. No, science is so incredibly limited science. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Right, so anyway, the hadith note, whereby Rasul mentioned min kulli khalafin udulu. Right, so the udul, right, the people of adalah, right, they have credibility, they have knowledge. And I'm going a bit into this because, and I may you all go and and research and listen to what the scholars have said. And that is where we get our knowledge from. But subhanallah, somebody was telling me the video that we shared, right, about that lady sharing the feminist viewpoint of the verse, and she went off calling, all of our ulama, our mufassirun, hypocrites and whatever she was saying about them. Subhanallah, she is an influencer, this lady. And she's an influencer and she has a huge following. Like online, there is the musibah of the zaman. Like there is a musibah of the zaman. But this has already been predicted by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's been prophesied by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Whereby he said that because when he said that in every generation there'll be those who will carry this religion. That means they will take on the amana, they will take on the trust of this religion. And so he's telling us that there will be a time where people will be doubting even the most basic things in Islam. They will doubt it. Like something like this, like who are the prophets? Do we believe in prophets? Who are the angels? Do we believe in angels? That is why we learn Aqidah over and over and over again. Because there will come a time when people will be like, nah, this is don't make sense. No, we don't believe in all this angel stuff. Or we don't believe in all this, day of judgment. And there will come a time. There will come a time. And when you say, oh, it's in the Quran, Muslims, they will say these kind of things. They say, oh, what it means here is like, he has some, he has some, imagination, and they're trying to explain. It was actually not. I've heard this kind of so-called ta'wil, but they say the angel was actually, his inner self. You know, what in the world? His inner self, and his inner self like was it's manifesting itself, like because he had someone who had a higher purpose, right? So his inner self, like and they keep calling the angel his inner self. No, 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 it was a real angel that came to him and spoke to him. There was no inner self or whatever nonsense. La hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Right, but it's all I've heard this kind of, and this happens really in the Western world. It's happening with the English speaking audience. Okay, it's all our nonsense. I mean, not our nonsense, but the nonsense is out there in the English language. In the English language, like when I tell my teachers about this, they be like, "What in the world?" When I tell them about what people are saying out there, and they just like, "Astaghfirullah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah." But mashallah, as Rasulullah he spoke about tahariful ghalin, tahariful ghalin, those who they will manipulate the books of Allah, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They would change the intended meaning of it, right? And then there is the intihal al mubtilin, right? And there is the ta'wil al jahilin, right? That is exactly what we're going through on Thursday. So it's a very important lecture, I would say. If you all can go back to it and listen to it again, right, to what Ustazah Abdullah had, highlighted for us, it's very important. It is very, very important because it will come, you see, this kind of videos, right? It came to who? It came to the common person, right? This kind of videos, and it's so convincing, but it came to the common, through a common person, not a scholar, right? Two common people, not scholars, right? And these people, you can see the amount of support that she got online. I saying, how could the people all this while been deluding us and telling us what the verse means and it's not right, it's all wrong. How could they be such hypocrites and so evil and whatever, whatever, whatever? And they're saying, big kalam. I mean, these are enormous things they're saying against our ulama. Now, right, so the verse of, so subhanallah, it's calamity, yeah, it's a calamity. Allah, the verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran with regards to the proof of the angels, of course, in the last part of Surah Baqarah, in the last few verses of Surah Baqarah, Amana Rasul. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Amana Rasul bima unzila ilayhi min rabbihi wal mu'minun kulun amana billahi wa malaikatihi. Right? So, the Prophet, he is the first one I to believe, right? And in the tafsir of this verse, mashallah, tabarakallah, one of the most beautiful, if you can go through a different tafsir, a different explanation of these verses. This is what I want you all to experience, right? To really see what our scholars have done, right? And it's amazing, subhanallah. It's Abdullah, she mentioned this exactly, she mentioned it, that we are in a zaman where people, our Muslims, right, they don't realize the caliber of our scholars. They don't realize how great our scholars are, and how much rigor like Islam has gone through for hundreds of years. You know, it's hundreds of years of Islamic scholarship by the best of our ulama. By the best, and the best of them have come and have gone. The best of them, eh? And then there are those who come, of the Khalaf, those who come later on, and in our zaman, there will always be, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, He has spread His awliya over the azmina, like over the different zamans, by His mercy, Subhanahu wa Taala. So not all of them appeared, with the Sahaba of Tabi'in. Allah has left, a few of them to come and save us, right? It was the end of time. The mujahideen, those who will come and renew the faith. I mean, mashallah, by Allah's mercy and His adl, by His rahmah and by His adl, by His fairness and by His mercy, that Allah has left, of the ulama, of the righteous. And we know this, right? Because the Mahdi and the Isa, they will find people, they will find people, who are like the Hawariyin in the Hadith, right? Where Rasul said that the Nabi Isa will find amongst the Ummah of Rasulullah, those who are similar to the Hawariyin of Nabi Isa in his time, meaning like the Sahaba of Nabi Isa, right? And there will be people in the end of times, who have the Iman of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar. These are all in the narration of Rasulullah. So it's Bushra, and it's Bushra, it's good news. Right? That inshallah, towards the end of time, there will always be these people. And we just mentioned the hadith, the udul. They will always exist. Well, alhamdulillah. They will always exist till the end of time. They will always be there. So this is what I'm trying to do with all of you here also. That to really, like look into the scholars and look at our scholars and appreciate them and love them. Right. And this is something that we need to ingrain in ourselves and our young. Like ingrain this in them. Like the entire, respect and the entire, it's a form of ta'zeem, and it's a form of, like, like really to raise the scholars, because Allah has raised them. And there was one thing that says, Abdullah, she highlighted so much, that it is that they are able to do this kind of really gross misinterpretation, right, of the Quran, because they have zero respect, uh, and zero respect because they have zero understanding and zero sense of who are the ulama, right? So if someone already has a full sense of who are the ulama, who are our scholars of the past, right? If someone said to you, oh, the scholars have been misogynic, the scholars have been, all these male chauvinists, the scholars have been, like they have been interpreting the Quran because they are men and they're against women. Straight away in your heart, you will say, no, 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 no. The scholars of that kind of taqwa, no, not possible. Even if you don't know the answer to what was being claimed, you don't know the response or the rebuttal of what's being claimed, in your heart already, you say to yourself, can't be. Because these people are people who are, they're muttaqun. They have taqwa. They have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will not dare say something about Allah's book that is not correct. They will not dare. In fact, they were very, 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 very careful about it. Right? Because this kind of kalam, right, will extend to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it has extended to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a ta'an, and there is an attack, on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying that, oh, the Prophet is this and this and this and this and this. The biggest protection against that, right, is that someone already has a relationship with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they know the kind of man that he is, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so if somebody came to this person, this young person, saying, that this Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he was like this, and they say bad things about him, the first defense is rejection. Like, I don't know the answer to what you're saying, I don't know the rebuttal to what you're saying, but what I do know is that you are wrong. And that is the first rebuttal. And that is important, mashallah. I'm going to continue with my the class. We have three pages to cover. Tamam. So amana rasul bima unzila ilayhi min rabbih wal mu'minun. So the Prophet ﷺ, he's the first one to be a believer in what was sent down to him from his Lord, and all of the believers, they also believe. Kullun amana billahi wa malaikatihi. So all of them, they believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels. And so ومما يجب اعتقاده في الملائكة ما يأتي. So of what is wajib, wajib for us to believe in for about the angels is first one, annahum ajsam, that they are beings, right? Ajsam meaning from the jism. They are physical beings. They are physical. So physical in the sense not what science says is physical, but what we say is physical. Okay. So ajsam, any all of Allah's creation have jism. Okay, all of Allah's creation have jism, and whatever their jism is, their ajsam is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond that. And so we do not give any form of jism to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, any form of physical being, right, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but all of his other creations that they have physical, they have a physical, reality to them. Right? They are ajsam nuraniyah. Right? So they are beings of light. Right? So they're physical beings of light. Um, مخلوقة من نور. يعني ففي صحيح مسلم أن عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت, right, so they are beings of light, and they are created from light. So in Sahih Muslim there's a proof here, right, whereby Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in the end of the hadith here, see that my translation la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, like I left a lot of things, right, but I just keep the gist of it, right. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said خلقت الملائكة من نور وخلق الجان من مارج من نار وخلق آدم مما وصف لكم. Right, so and this is the proof of this statement that the angels are made from light. And whatever that means, okay, whatever that means. I know, people, I don't know, I just feel sometimes like, I am from a science background as well, but I feel sometimes like people are so overzealous with regards to their, you want so much to prove, Islam is correct using science, you know, and I feel it's to a fault. I honestly feel it's to a fault. Like they really want to prove, Islam is correct, and they want to use science to prove it. We are not impoverished towards science. We're not in an to ulum. We don't need science to show that it's right. We don't need it. Okay, and some more science is flawed. It's flawed in itself. You want to use something that's flawed to prove something that is perfect? How is that? Right? Doesn't make sense, right? Science is flawed. Yes, it's flawed. And there is naqsnam, there is deficiency in science. Yes, correct. Is human precision nam. Islam is perfect, absolute, complete. That revealed from the all perfect creator, almighty creator, onto his perfect servant, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. How can you take something that is deficient to try and prove something that is perfect? Right? I mean, it doesn't work that way. And that's why they find all these, inconsistencies and fallacies in what they're trying to do. Right. So basically, for example, they say the angels, some nuraniya, tamam? Right, beings of light. The hadith, خلقت الملائكة من نور. Okay, that's the hadith. Right, angels are created from nur. What is nur? What is nur? What is nur? Mashallah, the day I met, sorry, sorry for a while. I met this lady. She came to Tarim for the Daura. She's from Utah. Interesting, from Utah. If you know Utah in America, Utah is a place in America. You can go and Google it. It's literally not. It's desert. It's desert. Like, I don't know what are the Islamic bodies that are there in Utah. Right? But it's so far from, like Zaytuna and Seekers Guidance and Maqasid, where you'll find the main people are, doing a lot of da'wah, and especially those who are linked to the Tarif, to the Hadramaut tradition. Right? She's from Utah. She is originally Nepalese. And she's Nepalese, she's was Hindu. Originally her family is all Hindu. She was born in Nepal. They moved to America when she was very young. I think she was 12 years old or something. They moved to America. And so she came to the Daura. And now I asked her for her story. This is how Baish was with me. Now Baish was like, ask her about her story. Like, what made her come to Tarim? So I asked her, where you from? She said, from Utah. I said, Utah? Who's in Utah? And like, how do you find out about Islam in Utah? And she's like, there's no one in Utah. There's nobody in Utah. Like, there was no, there is no Muslim, not a single Muslim in her town. So I was even more now intrigued. how in the world do you come to Islam? I mean, I am intrigued. Like, how do you come to Islam? And then come to Tarim some more. Like, how do you know about Tarim? Hadramaut. And you're embracing this, subhanAllah. So I asked her about her story. And she was like, since she was very young, she's been having this dream since she was very young in Nepal. And mashallah, you see, Allah guides the hearts that are inclined to Him. And we don't even know who they are. They're in some desert in America, in a town. There's not a single Muslim there. In a family who are strongly Hindu, right? And even in Nepal, there was no Muslim in her village in Nepal. Like she had never come across the Muslims ever. She came into Islam, right? And she told me, she told me one thing. She told me that when since she was young, she's been having this vision. It was a very long story, lah, basically, the entire vision. But basically, in the vision, right, the man who was speaking to her, there was a man who kept coming to her in all white and everything. It was very, a mashallah vision she was telling at that. To the point how about she was like, mashallah, tabarakallah. Her vision was so powerful, mashallah. Mashallah, one day I'll tell the story of her entire vision. Right? But she was saying to us that every single time she'll wake up with the word Noor, Noor, Noor being said to her. The word Noor itself, Noor Wawra, I Noor. And she has no Arabic whatsoever. She does not know any Arabic. She didn't even know the word was an Arabic word. But but it was being said to her in her dreams. Noor, 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 over and over again. I mean, subhanallah, right? So anyway, I'm commenting on this because of what I read online of people trying to explain angels using science and saying that angels are made from Noor, therefore they are made from photons. Come on, don't reduce our angels, lah, eh? I get so annoyed whenever I see these kind of stuff. Oh, it is a photons, and then so therefore, and they have this entire explanation. You're spoiling it for us, okay? Spoiling it for us. And don't try and reduce the angels to photons, and there's no proof of it. There's no, how people like they try to take Isra and Miraj, and they try and take Einstein's theory of relativity to try and explain Isra and Miraj. No, please don't do that, right? Isra and Miraj, معجزة وخلاص. Okay? معجزة وخلاص. In fact, Einstein himself, in fact, from our day itself, they don't have a full understanding of the theory of relativity. What more trying to take it and to explain Isra wal Mi'raj? Like, wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Like, so, I mean, it's something that I find in our zaman, there's so much, like, so much, like, so much trust in science, so much trust that you feel you need science to back up the deen. No, you don't. No, you don't. Right? The science is flawed in itself. But Mashallah, one day after her story, okay, her story, she took up the entire lunchtime telling her story. Haba was so interested in her story because when I asked her, like, how do you know about Tareem? What brought you here? And then she was like, she said her dreams. It was her dreams. She went to love Habib Omar. And she had not become Muslim yet. And she heard the name Omar and then she was like, she searched online. She went searching all these words. She was given words, she was given words. Noor. She went to search Noor, and went to search what is Noor. She found it was an Arabic word, right? And then she was going to the word Omar. And then she searched the word Omar. I mean, it is like you like subhanallah. Her journey was really, mashallah, and then she began to find out that it was all Arabic, and then she found out about Islam through that. She found out about Islam through that. And there was Arabic words, she found about Islam. And then she found Maqasid, mashallah. From Maqasid, she found Seeker's Guidance from America. Like, and then she went into the courses, and the first course is the thing about us naming our courses, eh? Because she was like, intro to Islam, right? Or no, no, the essentials of faith, the essentials of faith. So she signed up for that one, and it was right into Hanafi fiqh, mashallah. And she was not even Muslim yet. She hasn't become Muslim yet. She was just searching, and she went right into Hanafi fiqh. Mashallah, because the course was called Essentials of Islam. And so she assumed Essentials of Islam, right? I mean, essentials, right? And it was right into wudu and salat and mashallah. But she told me that she actually practiced every single thing she learned from that course without having come into Islam yet. You know, she was practicing every single thing that she was learning in that course just through the internet. And how bad she was like, Well, يعني in her prayer, she already said Shahada, so that counts. That counts. MashaAllah. Okay, they continue from in our class. Tamam sila, today I talk so much. Um, Naam, right? So angels are made from light. خُلِقَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ مِن نُور. Right? There is no proof whatsoever here. There is nur means photons, okay? And nobody said so. Right? It is light. Whatever nur means, light. Light. And only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that. And only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, the meaning of nur and what he means by nur. And because he is the one who created the angels. نعم وأنهم لا يأكلون ولا يشربون ولا يتناسلون ولا ينامون فليس لهم من هذه العادات البشرية شيء. Right? So they are angels. Right? They do not eat nor drink, right? Nor have any form of progeny, nor have any form of sleep, nor and they have no human nature to them. Right? There is no human nature to angels. You must negate that. Right? Full negation. Right? So no gender. Right? No gender. Right? No basically they are not at all like human beings. Right? They are shapeshifters, yes. Shapeshifters meaning they can take on shapes. Right? They can take on different, different shapes. But angels, you see, angels, mashallah, is either their own manifestation of themselves, right? From our riwayat, or the state of human beings, right? Angels take on the state of human beings, right? Because there was a child that asked me for, I don't remember who asked me for, can angels become like cats? I said, jinn can become cats. It is true, jinn can become cats, right? And however said that is a Muslim jinn that takes the form of cats. Ya Allah. I'm pretty sure the cat under my house and my mom's cat. I'm pretty sure he's a jinn. I'm pretty sure he's a jinn. He's not a cat, he's a jinn. He's such an evil cat. But astaghfirullah lazim. But yeah, how about we say to us, like there's a cat that comes to the okay, and she would sit in our halaqah, years ago. This cat would come at night and sit in our halaqah. And how about we speak to it? She would just speak to it. And then I will play with I like cats. I'll play with the cat. And then once the cat was biting my stuff, it was kind of bothering me. I think my nurse was trying to pulling away my pencil and everything. And how about scolded the cat? And she was like, "You wanna sit here in our halaqah? Behave. Okay? Don't bother my students here." And then the cat sat down and it was well behaved. Oh, no, I was amazed. Well, the cat is a obedient cat. And Haba just said to me, don't think it's a cat. Ya Allah, Haba. She was like, don't think it's a cat. And I was like, it's not a cat. I'm not going to touch it anymore. But anyway, there was a child that asked me the question, can angels take the shape of like butterflies? I don't know, Allahu Alam. I mean, Allahu Alam. Allahu Alam. Allahu Alam. But what we do know is that they take the shape of human beings, right? And they take the shape of perfected, like not perfect, but they take the shape of the more good-looking human beings, right? So when angels come, because they're pure beings, and they are higher beings. They're higher beings. They only obey Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, which makes them of higher beings, right? Because they only obey Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, right? They are they're unable to disobey Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, right? So therefore they are higher beings, right? So they will take the form of humans, right, to make things easier on prophets, is of the easiest ways of wahyu, that to come to the Islam in the form of a human being, right? As opposed to the other forms of whereby wahyu comes to Rasulullah, right? And also they do come to us normal human beings in the form of human beings as tests, as we know in the Salihin, in the Hadith collections, whereby angels would come, like the bald man, the leper, and the blind man, and there was an angel that was testing them, right? So it's not beyond us to, that the people who are around us that you meet on the street, they could be angels testing you. It's possible. It's possible. Right? The human beings that you meet, they could be angels, they could be jinn. You don't know if they're really Adami. Right? They're actually human beings. Right? But what we do know is that the angels, they have their own form, like their own form that Allah created them in, which we know in the narrations of how Rasulullah saw in Jibril alayhi salam, in the horizon. right, with his wings outspread, and he was a magnificent sight that filled up the horizon. Right, but Sayyidina Jibril will come through some in the form of a human being. Right. So Allah Alam, right? One of the kids now asked me, can the angel take forms of cats and butterflies, and I doubt so. I have no proof for it. But I doubt so. I don't think they'll take the form of animals. Like maybe if you go and search, is there any like Daniel or whatever. But as far as we know, the angels come in the form of human beings. Like jinn, yes, jinn take the form of animals. Right? They might take the form of animals. Okay, tamam. Now, so they have no human nature, right, about them, right? So we don't say the angels have, amrad qulub, la, of course not. This is a form of sins, eh? We don't say the angels have form of, like they have illness of the heart, right, or disease of the heart. No. And the Jews, they claim that, and the Quran Allah mentioned that oh, Jibril hates them. So therefore, Jibril, when they ask for some, who is the one who brings you all these messages, and they say, and Rasul says, it's Jibril. And they say, oh, we don't like Jibril. Jibril has something against us. Like, he's not like us very much. No, 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 no. Angels are not that petty. They can't. They can't go into a state of, of like holding a grudge or hating or whatever. I mean, they do whatever Allah has commanded them to do. And they're on the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? They're on the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's no like disease in the heart that can afflict them, whatever it is. Right, so then Jibril, he sends the Prophet Sallallahu by commandment. Now, I saw وأنهم ليسوا بذكور ولا إناث. قال تعالى وجعلوا الملائكة الذين هم عباد الرحمن إناثا أشهدوا خلقهم ستكتب شهادتهم وَيُسْأَلُونَ. I said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, and they have made these people, these believers, they have made, in the sense they have fabricated. Okay? Made not in the sense of really making, but fabricated. They have fabricated, they have lied. They've lied against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They've fabricated, right? That Allah's servants, the angels, like they are females. Right? These are all fabrications, and this happened in the time of Rasulullah, whereby they meet the idols tend to be female. And if the idols are the daughters of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all buhtan, all fabrications. Right? Lies and all lies. Right? And Allah says, were they the ones who witnessed the creation of the angels? And Allah will write down, like whatever that they have, they claim that they have witnessed, and that they will be questioned definitely on the day of judgment. Right? So فَمَنِ اعتقد أنهم إناث فقد كفر بنص الآية. Right? So here, so whoever thinks that they are female, right, they are kafir. Whoever has the i'tiqad, right, they believe that angels are females, kafir. Right? Because of the ayah is negating that. And then ومن اعتقد أنهم ذكور فهو فاسق عاصي. Right? So, and whoever says that the angels are males and they are deviant and they are disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وأنهم لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. So, and they only obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times, and they never obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nor do they even incline to it. Right? They don't have a naqs in this area. There is no deficiency here. It's absolute obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بل عباد, so the meaning here, the proof here is بل عباد مكرمون. The other honorable says of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the says of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لا يس لا يسبقونه بالقول وهم بأمره يعملون. Right, so the angels, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded them to do, that they will do. So inshallah, I will stop there for today. We have gone over time. Inshallah tomorrow I'll cover more. Inshallah. Today I thought like but inshallah tomorrow I will do a bit more. But today inshallah I was trying to emphasize that this kalam has begun already in our zaman of trying the people trying so hard to sanctify, not sanctify but make it scientific. Right? Everything in a religion. And I honestly believe it's a plot of shaitan, man. I honestly believe that it's a plot of shaitan. Like to try and make everything scientific. Then when science collapses, and it will collapse. And when science collapses, everything collapses with it. Right? That is not the dalil of of the proof of our religion. There is not. Right? But the dalil or the proof of our religion lies in the truth of our Prophet. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If someone says something tangible, right? Yes, our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's the proof. Him himself. Right? And then the Quran. The Quran is proof in itself. Right? Barakallahu fikum. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. إن الله يرزق لنا منافع وعملا خالصا ويسلم وأرواح معاني من مشايخنا ويسلم. الفاتحة.